Salve, this is Latin with Livia, and today I'm going to teach you how to count from 1 to 10 in classical Latin. We'll start just by going over these numbers, and then I will walk you through each of the numbers in a little more detail and give you some short example sentences. But first, let's just pronounce them all. So we have unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, decem. One more time. That's unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, decem. Now it's time to look at each of these numbers in more detail. So the number 1 is unus, but since Latin is a language that has different genders, we have 3 different versions of unus depending on what gender the noun it goes with is. So for masculine nouns, we're going to say unus, for feminine, una, and for neuter, unum. Here's our first example sentence. Ecce unus canis. And ecce just means look, behold. So I would translate this sentence something like, here is one dog. Ecce unus canis. But if we want to say here is one tree, we need to use una, which is our feminine form. So we'll say ecce una arbor. And if we want to talk about a mouth, the Latin word for mouth, os, is neuter. So we'll say unum. Ecce unum os. The number 2, duo, also has some different versions. So for masculine nouns, we'll use duo, for feminine, duai, and for neuter, duo again. Ecce duo canes. So now it's not just unus canes, we also have duo canes. Next up are our plural trees, ecce duai arbores. There's 2 of them now, una arbor, duai arbores. And we have 2 mouths now too, ecce duo ora. Unum os, duo ora. The number 3 only has 2 different forms in what we call the nominative plural. So if you're studying Latin, then you'll know about cases. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to focus on these 2 different forms. Tres is for the masculine and the feminine, and tria is for the neuter. So we have ecce tres feles. Got some cats for a change. So we would have tres for both feminine and masculine nouns in the nominative plural. So feles happens to be a feminine noun. So we would say una feles, duai feles, tres feles. But we would also say tres canes, for instance. Now, what if we want to talk about rocks in Latin? So saxum is neuter, so we need to say ecce tria saxa. Now, all of our numbers 4 through 10 don't have different forms at all. They're what we call indeclinable. So the gender of the noun coming after doesn't matter. And in fact, the case isn't going to matter either for those of you who know about the different Latin cases. So we have quatuor, and our sample is going to be ecce quatuor equi. So we have 4 horses here. Ecce quatuor equi. Next up is quinque, the number 5. Ecce quinque cellae. And if we add una cella, so if we add 1 more chair, we're going to get sex. So ecce sex cellae. And now there's 6 of them. 7 is septem. And we can say ecce septem nummi. So we have unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, nummi, or coins. Next, we have octo, our word for 8. An example here is of roses, ecce octo rosae. So we have una, duai, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo rosae. Novem is going to be our word for 9, and here we have 9 ships, so ecce novem naves. And finally, we get to 10, decem, and here we have 10 fingers, so ecce decem digiti. And there you go. You now know the numbers from 1 to 10 in Latin. So just to recap, I'm going to pronounce them all one more time. So this is going to be unus, duo, tres, quattuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, decem. That's all for today. If you want to learn more about numbers and how to use them, especially how you use numbers in different cases, then I recommend that you check out my blog post on this topic. I've linked to it in the description of this video, and it is a really full guide to numbers. It goes all the way up to 10,000. So, voila!